Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's morning musings is Just Do It. I'm doing a series of daily morning musings, and I'm using posts from my blog, Adventures in Density and Effort, as inspiration. As I wrote these all a while ago, looks like this one's from 2009. The entire world has changed so much since then. So if I encounter anything as I am reading the article to you that needs upgrading, that I've had more revelations about, I will interrupt myself and share it with you. And at the end, if necessary, I will give you a summary based on what's going on in the world today. And also I have some specials for you, so stay tuned to the end to see what they are. Just do it. I just entered into an agreement to host a radio show, but man, you would not believe the shit that came up prior to making the leap to do it. It reminded me of a previous period of extreme expansion. I was teaching psychic classes, my wedding business had accelerated, and I committed to going to Findhorn that fall, and I wrote 2 books in 3 months. I remember feeling a bit off balance because in my head I was working on the story plot for these books. Yet teaching classes required me to be very grounded, present, and focused. Oh, and I just recalled I was co-creating a garden with nature using the Perelandra techniques and doing a self-directed course called Bringing More Love into Your Life in preparation for going to Findhorn. The growth period was huge, and what came to me during my weekly staff meetings with my devas, I have non-physical staff for all my businesses, was to just do it. And that's how everything got done. So I'm going to interrupt myself there. I will leave you links to all of these things I've mentioned. I'll leave you links to Findhorn and to Perelandra, maybe to a couple of the books that I've mentioned, Bringing More Love into Your Life. And if I can find the links to those books, I'll do that. And it really was a very fun but incredibly expanded time. Oh, and I'll leave you a link to the books I wrote as well. Anytime you move forward, energy will come up. If you're walking through the ocean at the beach, you can feel the resistance from the water. It's dense and it's visible, but you don't take it personally. You don't say, oh, the ocean doesn't want me to walk, so I'm just going to sit down, get my pants wet, and wait for the tide to go out. When you walk anywhere, you are moving through oxygen, but the molecules are lighter than water, so you don't feel that resistance. The effort it takes is different, perhaps from within your own body and muscles. You don't stop walking because it's too hard to lift one foot up and put it down in front of the other. You just do it. Anytime you take a step forward on your spiritual path, energy comes up. Sometimes it's a form of external resistance, critical friends, demanding relatives, for instance. And then sometimes it's internal resistance, inner doubts, fears, or other negative thoughts. Energetically, these are all seen as patterns in your morphic field. There are techniques you can use to dissipate or transform them, which are great if you're operating at a high awareness level at each moment of your day, or have time to sit down in meditation whenever things come up, or just plow right through and clear it later if it still needs clearing. So back to the radio show. I've been looking at this website for a couple of weeks, listening to different shows and toying with the idea of co-hosting one time with one of the existing hosts just to get my toes wet, really to stay safe. Then yesterday I came across another host's website and listened to their audio and realizing they were offering techniques that I have been teaching for 28 years. This morning I listened to a podcast by one of their recent guests who said something to the effect of, go ahead and do it. Imagine looking back at your life and regretting not doing it. And while I was still listening to the podcast, I sent the email to the radio's owner and got immediate response. Suddenly, it was an attack of the killer gremlins in my head. Who am I to do a radio show? I have no experience. I've been interviewed on radio shows. Well, why can't I be on the other side of the mic? I'm small, I'm insignificant, and I don't know anything. So please look at my website and my blog and tell me if this is so. At the same time, inspiration of friends who could support me or had done radio themselves came up. I called them all for practice before calling the radio guy. It's all totally doable. I'm totally capable of doing it. I could sit down and meditate for several more days or weeks or years so that I feel clear and ready. But imagine the opportunities that will slip by if I do. Take a look at the things that you've been wanting to do in your life. Changes you're desiring or risks you've been hesitant to take. How will you feel in 5 years if you still haven't done them? Take one of those risks. Just do it. And then after that, do another. So this is very fun to look at. I published this in January of 2009, and actually 3/3/2009. So it was March 3rd, 2009 that I started my show, Adventures in Density and Effort. And I kept that going for quite a few years. I took a pause when my mother was dying in 2012. And then at the end of 2013, beginning of 2014, I started a new one with a colleague of mine called Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. And that went from 2014, I think, until 2018, because then I was in New York helping my brother who had a stroke. It's fun to read this because I do have the urge to start a podcast. I just don't quite have the energy to start a podcast. And honestly, doing these daily videos takes quite a lot. So stay tuned because I might use this as inspiration to start doing a podcast as well. But back to you. Try this as inspiration. Just take this risk, just do it. Or if you've had an experience of just taking a risk and just doing it, please let me know in the comments below. I love reading your comments. And if you like these videos, please click the like button and share them. You can click the bell icon to subscribe. And by subscribing and clicking the like button, you're signaling to YouTube's algorithms to share this with more people and get this information out into the world today. It's so important. And also, if you want to have a free sample of one of my consciousness techniques, click on the link below to the skybox technique. And I just remembered, also click on the link below to all those other things I mentioned. I'll put links in. And if you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com. I do individual sessions where I take a look at the essence of who you are and what's going on in your life today. And then I can answer any questions that you might have about your past, the future, dead people, relationships, anything at once, and I record it just for you. And also, I have a coaching program. So if you want to learn how to do this for yourself, check out my coaching program on joan-newcomb.com. It's tailor-made just for you. You have some individual sessions with me, and also I give you specific consciousness techniques to help you transform your life. So go to my website, joan-newcomb.com, and stay tuned tomorrow for another Morning Musings.